And while you connect to the store, to the online store, you want to have something that is connected to the experience that you had, like the guest experience somehow that you had in store.
You're listening to the Keep Optimizing podcast to increase your traffic, improve your conversion rates, and grow your profits.
Hello and welcome. I'm Chloe Thomas, the host of this e-commerce marketing focused podcast. If you're not familiar with our format, each month we focus on a different marketing method. It could be email or SEO or Facebook ads. And each week even, I interview a different expert to explore the latest advice on making it work for you and your business. This month we're doing something a little different. We're exploring all those other channels you could choose to sell on. From physical retail to wholesale to marketplaces and beyond, and cross-border as well. And in this episode, we're exploring why you really need to be including this in your strategy and what doing it properly means. My guest is the brilliant Ben from Shopify, who will be taking us through some of their recent research and what they're finding is working well for Shopify people, Shopify brands like yourselves right now. And he's going to be sharing lots of that and mainly telling us about how we have to go beyond basic omnichannel now. We've got to go a lot further. We've got to really integrate things to create that brilliant customer experience. It's a super insightful chat. I challenge you to listen to the end and not be putting a new channel on your to-do list. And make sure you listen to the end because Ben's insider tips are super cool as well. I hope you enjoy this episode. Shopify recently turned the tables on me and took me from interviewer to interviewee, knowing, as they do, that the most successful retailers today are those that bridge the gap between online and offline and make it a seamless experience. Shopify wanted my thoughts on how to achieve truly connected commerce, particularly in the key areas of local selling, omnichannel selling, and cross-border selling. You can read my thoughts along with other commerce experts from Germany, France, Spain and Italy by visiting keepopt.com/Shopify and downloading the report. That's keepopt.com/Shopify. In this episode, I'm chatting with connected commerce expert Ben Lang. Ben is the head of Northern Europe and DACH at Shopify, helping Shopify partners throughout these regions and beyond to help the retailers they work with, that's you lot, build successful commerce strategies. Hello, Ben.
Hello, thanks for having me, Chloe.
It's brilliant to have you on the show. Thank you so much for making time for us. How did you get into the world of connected commerce?
Well, I started my career working on the telco industry, and you know that telco industry is really the incumbent kind of multi-channel operator, and then moved to the marketing world where I understand the value of having attribution conversation across the different channels, right? And then moved to the fintech world where I was more down the funnel around what makes people pay at the end of the journey, right? Both from an online and offline standpoint. And then, moved to Shopify, where I'm happy now to lead the partnership team there, where we do have a lot of the questions and the conversation around unified commerce experiences for clients and partners.
So you've experienced all the pain points and you're now at the place that brings it all together and makes it possible.
Exactly.
Excellent. What a great way to lead up to it. So why should we be talking about connected commerce rather than omnichannel?
Well, I think if we zoom out, we realize that historically retail has been, 100 years ago, it was just one channel, right? It was that shop. Maybe 20, 30 years ago, we started to talk about e-commerce. We started to talk about catalog sales, phone sales, so we started to multiply the channels. And then for the last, I would say 10 years, we started to have that omnichannel approach where we're like, okay, let's have different channels. And slowly across the last 10 years, we started to have systems and channels talking to each other. So you have different systems that are supporting each one of those channels. And, that's limited to some extent because you can have gaps, you can have reconciliation that are not correct, conflicting and duplicated customer data across multiple systems. So now with Shopify, for us, it's important that we are creating a table stake, right? Currently, the conversation is around unified commerce. You need to have one platform covering everything so you don't have that gap anymore. So that's definitely something that we are seeing historically that is driving the future of what we believe is the future of commerce. Currently, we know that 60% of shopping experiences are beginning and ending on separate devices. So opposing two channels is not making any sense anymore, right? You need to have channels working together. You need to have the right understanding of the customer data in every touch point you have. Where Omnichannel was focusing on the front-end part, I would say that unified commerce is talking about the back-end and the front-end element. And that's reconciling everything across the customer journey from the client experience, but also from the brand experience that needs to have access to all that data to take informed decision.
Yeah, I think so often Omnichannel, we just think it's about having the same graphic in the shop windows that we're using in the email campaigns that week.
Yeah, indeed.
It's very much kind of front-ended, whereas I think, like as you say, now we're realizing that if we want to actually create that full-on customer experience, we have to have all the dots joined behind when it comes to product data, customer data, etc., and available to all our channels, so we actually don't drop the ball at any point.
Yeah, you need to enhance the customer experience for sure. That's a given now. It wasn't before. We had scattered customer experience across the different channels where the brand experience wasn't the same. You were in social media, the brand experience was different than the one you had in store. So I think we moved already there, right? We know that it's important to have a seamless brand experience across the different touch points, but there is a layer deeper there where you need to have the understanding of the data and you need to be able to play with the different levers you have. We've seen, for instance, on a recent study that we've published that 54% of the people are browsing online, they are checking if there is availability on the store next door, right? And the same applies all the way around. We know, and we all have been facing that, where you're in a store and you're checking on your phone because maybe there is a better deal on the e-commerce part. So opposing those two channels is just a nonsense currently. So it's really important for you as a brand to capture the opportunity in both, to maximize the impact and the experience there. Because you want to be able to say, I don't know, you're in a store, you have a pop-up saying, well, actually, we have that size that is not available in the store. You can pick and collect it tomorrow, or we can have it delivered at your place tomorrow. That's the kind of experience that we need to enhance more and more. And we're seeing lots of brands doing that right now also.
For me, I think it so often comes back to if you were the solo person running a physical store that also has an online presence with a warehouse somewhere else, and how you would treat your customers if they were coming through the door, you would naturally have that conversation of, oh, you'd look much better in a 12. I've got one in the warehouse. I'll pick it up on the way home and it'll be here tomorrow for you to try on your next lunchtime, or I'll get it delivered to you. And it's using the tech to enable us to do that really boutique experience, but at a massive scale.
Yeah, and I think the technology have been impacting our capacity to deliver this kind of experience, which is supernatural when you said the example that you just said, right? But if we take, for instance, a Gymshark, that is in a Regent Street in London, if you're going there and let's say you have a community workout in their store, because you can have that over there, right? You want maybe at the end of that workout, when you're coming back home, to have a special offer in your email box, and while you connect to the store, to the online store, you want to have something that is connected to the experience that you had, like the guest experience somehow that you had in store, right? So connecting the dots is super important. And we know that brick and mortar isn't going away, right? 68% of UK consumers are saying that brick and mortar presence will continue to be important and is even more important than last year. I think there's also a trend post-COVID there. And indeed, COVID really highlighted the importance of e-commerce, right? Where maybe prior to COVID, we had some people that were reluctant to buy online or to have a fully, my parents maybe, they were not fully connected there, right? Whereas after COVID, we understand that those motions are going hand in hand. And we are talking about offline and online, but you do also have, social channels. You do have also marketplaces. You do also have a B2B. So the multi-channel approach, there is so many channels that you really need to have a unified experience across all them to understand the customer behavior, to be able to take informed decision based on that. That will help you to have an agile business. And currently in the macroeconomics we're facing, I think it's good to have a business that is quite agile.
For those who are listening who have but one channel at the moment, they're purely selling via their D2C website, I think we've kind of covered some of the reasons they really should be looking at adding additional channels to their mix and doing it in the right way, as we will get on to talk about. What for you are the key reasons why this is a 2024 strategy, not a 2026 or a 2030 strategy for the online retailer?
Well, if we take a step back, again, we're seeing that the macroeconomics are specific, right? Interest rates are climbing. We're seeing also that the customer behavior is being changing. customer acquisition costs are going through the roof, and a lot of marketers that are listening to us will be, been there, So it's definitely climate that is creating pressure on the acquisition layer. It's creating pressure there, and the technology hasn't been really supporting us there. So when you do have those challenges, you need to have a way to connect the dots. You need to have a way to centralize everything, but you also need to have a tech stack that is allowing you to launch, test, learn in an agile way and in time to market efficient manner, right? And also at a reasonable cost, which is also a topic currently, right? So you want to be able to not only attract people to your store or to your e-shop, you want to be where they are. And that's a different motion compared to the one we had before. It's about making sure that you're appearing and you're having seamless customer experience where they are. So if you want to sell on TikTok, you don't want them to get out from TikTok to come on your e-shop. You want to be there, have them paying that. You're a DIY shop and you're doing live shopping. You want to leverage a YouTube integration to be able to pay and buy directly there, right? You don't want to add any extra layer. We know how conversion rate is dropping throughout the funnel. So you want to be where they are. But in the meantime, you want to be able to have your POS engine, hardware in a pop-up store if you have the opportunity there. Or you want to be able to have that, capture this opportunity on your store, physical store. And if we add a layer, you want to be able to capture marketplaces and you want to be able to capture a B2B opportunity there. So ultimately, if you have just one channel today, you're somehow limiting your options. Indeed, you're focusing, but you might be limiting your options into acquiring new clients, but also retaining them because they're expecting that multi-touch approach to be able to be a loyal customer.
I love what you're saying, and it resonates with you mentioning earlier about the more mature customers who were kind of forced online by the pandemic and who are now buying online. And what I find when I talk to people in that bracket is they have far less patience with why do I have to go to the website to do it? Why can't I do it here? Why do I have to do this? And it's kind of like, 20 years ago, we would say, if you put up a website, get your mum to try and use it, as a test. It's like we're having that as a whole industry. And suddenly the things which my generation, the younger generations would occasionally put up with if they really like the product, now the mass market is coming online. It no longer works.
Exactly. And I think we need to acknowledge also that synergies are existing and everyone is having a different way to behave, right? So maybe your way of buying online is different than mine, right? High chance it is, right? We don't know. But and before we were only having one opportunity to do it, so one behavior. So that changed along the few last years. So now we have the ability to express what is our preferred way of buying, our preferred way of buying a product. So for instance, we're seeing that 38% of consumer, they expect click and collect as part of the in-store experience, right? So that's maybe not something that has been overlooked. And the click and collect is important, right? So there are definitely a lot of channels that are key there. You have to understand what is the one that fits you best. You don't need to have 10 channels from the get-go, maybe. You need to have a stepped approach, but definitely understanding the value of each one of them, having the right tech stack that is centralizing everything into one source of truth will help you to have way more impact than if you have scattered tech stack that are not really talking to each other.
So let's talk how, because you're taking us there, Ben. So let's get into the how bit. It feels to me, right, so it's like our objective is customer experience, but the how is so heavily embedded in the data and how our tech talks to it. So what's your advice for someone who's going, yeah, we need to be doing this? What's the best way of achieving connected commerce?
Well, I think the first element is to be able to have the right tech stack. Well, that's a given, and you can hear that I'm biased maybe, but that's definitely something that I fully believe in. I think having the right tech stack is a prerequisite to be able to be time to market. That's quite an important one. And I think the second one is also being surrounded by people that can help you to take the informed decisions, right? Because tech is important, service is another one, right? It's also the way that you analyze that data, that you're going about it. And I'm working with hundreds of great partners that are commercial partners, that are system integrators, agencies that are doing marketing, that are doing web development, that are doing every different kind of expertise, that have different kind of expertise, and they have gold of knowledge because they've seen that before. And I think leveraging partners is not a waste of money because it will give you informed elements on the tech stack, but as well as every other layer to be able to take the right decision. So I would say tech stack is one, and the partner ecosystem that you can leverage, as well as the mentors, as well as the peers that you have. Ask them questions because that definitely will, or listen that kind of podcast that we're doing now because you might get to be connected with people that could help you.
Yeah, I think what we're doing is very much the beginning of the journey though, isn't it? I think the next step on from this is to talk to people who've done it, whether they're, as you say, they're other retailers who you can learn from who are going on a similar journey and are a little bit ahead of you, or whether it's going to the partners who are doing this again and again and again and seeing what works well with each other, what combinations work well for the challenges you're trying to do. Because as you mentioned earlier, 10, 20 years, businesses have been trying to do some form of omnichannel. Yes, now we need to do it better and we need to turn it into connected commerce, but there's an awful lot of knowledge out there that can make this transition process an awful lot easier of getting that right tech stack and then deploying it correctly.
Yeah, and I feel also if people are listening to us right now, they might be like, yeah, I'm doing omnichannel, If we were to ask them like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, would have been a different story, right? So I think omnichannel is becoming a bit of the norm now. But if you see the trends, it means that you need to go the extra layer already. And that's why we're talking about unified commerce. That's why we are going an extra layer, because the competition is so intense currently that you need to plan on future-proofing your business throughout this kind of innovation. That conversation around unified commerce is important today and will be even more tomorrow. So we can't stay on the single channel as we were having 100 years ago when we had, just the retail store. So imagine how things accelerated in the last few years. So it means that tomorrow it will keep going fast. So the unified commerce element is definitely a key to make sure that you're bulletproofing your business for the long run.
And so if we've got the right tech, we've taken the advice, we're building our tech stack out so we can do this properly and create that experience, and we're starting to pull the data together. I assume there's some kind of team training element coming in at some point and upping our knowledge and looking at the data. So where do we take it on that journey? What are the next obvious steps from what you're seeing your partners doing?
Well, I think partners are also playing a role here, right? Because indeed, they are not just playing a role into the implementation or the launch, they're also playing a role in the long run and helping you analyzing the data. So there are definitely a partner element to it, as well as a mentor element to it, as well as an ecosystem element to it, but indeed applied to you specifically, and that's linked to what you said around. First, there is an inspiring conversation, and then there is the operational excellence that you need to put around that. And the reality of each business is different and has to be. So the recipe that is working really well with Gymshark might not be working with Boden, right? Or might not be working with, Unrunning that is starting with Shopify also. Everyone is having a different journey, and you need to be able to apply what the data is telling you to your journey, because maybe you're seeing that the B2B channel is underperforming. Well, either you invest or you don't, or you de-invest there. I can't tell you what to do there, right? You're only the one that can take that decision based on the data, but at least you need to understand if you're performing or not. How does that compare to other channels? Well, you're the marketing side, so attribution has been a big topic in the marketing world, right? And we always have been seeing channels as or we have been for a long time seeing channels as competing against each other. My Meta performance is impacting my Google one, so I'm going to invest all my budget on Meta and put nothing on Google, right? This kind of conversation we used to have in the past, where now we know that it's at the different layer of the funnel maybe, and there is complementarity here instead of just competition. Same applies with the channels that we have within the e-commerce landscape or the commerce landscape. So understanding how they fit into the journey is important. Like if you are a buyer in the B2B landscape, you want to have the same experience as the one that you have home when you're buying on the super nice Shopify store. So why are we not offering this kind of experience there? Then just to get back to your point around analyzing the data, I think understanding the data, offering the right experience that are linked to that, it's important that you're taking that decision yourself based on the partner ecosystem that can support you and the right tech stack.
It really is a case of keep optimizing. I just had to say it, but
Exactly. Pun intended.
Yeah, definitely in there. So everyone's hearing this in May. Christmas is not that far away now in e-commerce terms.
Yeah, indeed.
How much potential is there to make big step changes in this? Because this is big strategic shifts for people to still get it done in time for the big Christmas sales splurge. Is it a feasible 2024 strategy?
Well, it depends on your tech stack. And that's why I was talking about time to market. If you're working with Shopify, launching from some zero to launch, I would say, on Shopify can take maybe from 4 weeks to 6 months average, whereas with other platforms, it's an average 3 times more, right? So if you were to re-platform to Shopify right now, you'll be ready for a Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Christmas. If you are already on Shopify and you want to add a new channel, it's a push of a button, so you can be ready tomorrow, right? If you're not a tech stack, the whole thing that you have to build, the point we were making earlier around the fact that it's different systems. So it means that you have to onboard a new system, you have to get used to that system, you have to bridge it with your with other systems so they connect well. You have to have and spend a lot of money into developing that integration, API things and all that, which ultimately will impact your capacity to be time to market. Whereas with Shopify, it's included there. So I would say depending on your tech stack, you can be ready tomorrow or you won't.
I totally get where you're coming from. And I think that point you were making about the complexity of the integrations, every time you add another channel, you are fundamentally, however well you do it, you're fundamentally adding more complexity to your business. And so the more seamless you can make that addition at the beginning, the easier it is to adapt and to optimize as you go along. So you really do have to try and get those integrations right.
Yeah, exactly. And as a business owner, where do you want to focus your time? Do you want to focus your time on finding ways to grow your business, or do you want to allocate your time into making sure that the lights are on? Do you want to focus your time into security patch, updates, upgrades, back-end development in terms of connecting with another system, or do you want to focus into optimizing the channels that you have, talking about conversion impact, innovation implementation, customer experience? In my opinion, it's quite clear where you need to focus your time because you need to be conversion focused, and that's the whole philosophy. We need to remove the toil from and the time that you allocate to tasks that are not creating value to you. So that's definitely, I think, where business owner needs to focus their time. And marketers understand that perfectly well because that's their daily activities, right? So I think that's something important, and people will, that are listening, I hope that they agree with me there.
I think there's a huge growing movement in our industry at the moment about optimizing team efficiency by going, we've done these workarounds for 8 years. Why are we doing these workarounds? Why have we not streamlined this process? So I love that you've brought that up. Ben, I think we've covered everything in our remit today, but have we missed anything? Is there anything else you'd really love the audience to know before we move on to the insider tips?
No, I think it's good. We covered quite a lot already. So
there you go, guys. You have the complete insight there into why we've got to go beyond omnichannel and embrace connected commerce. Thank you, Ben, so much for taking us through all of that. And all of you listening, keep tuned right to the end because you do not want to miss out on Ben's insider tips and my suggestions for more free resources to help you improve things even further in your business. Shopify recently turned the tables on me and took me from interviewer to interviewee, knowing, as they do, that the most successful retailers today are those that bridge the gap between online and offline and make it a seamless experience. Shopify wanted my thoughts on how to achieve truly connected commerce, particularly in the key areas of local selling, omnichannel selling, and cross-border selling. You can read my thoughts along with other commerce experts from Germany, France, Spain and Italy by visiting keepopt.com/Shopify and downloading the report. That's keepopt.com/Shopify. Okay, Ben, so far we've gone deep into why we have to go beyond omnichannel and embrace connected commerce. Now you get to wow us with your insider knowledge about the whole of e-commerce. So for the following questions, your answer can be anything to do with what we've already been talking about or go way beyond that. I leave it up to you. Are you ready?
I am.
Okay, let's start with newbie advice. If you've inspired someone to take their first step, what do they need to know to give themselves the best chance of success?
I think it's a good one. It's a hard one, right? Because when you start, you have so many fire to focus on, and you feel like you're a firefighter to a lot of extent, right? And prioritizing the fire that you need to let burn is an important element, right? So for me, from the get-go, having the right tech stack is important because that will remove toil in the future. But you could have seen that one coming. I think there is definitely the fact that often there is a loneliness to a newbies, right? And the loneliness is something that we are trapping ourselves sometimes in. There are loads of people around us that are experiencing the same, or had experienced the same. So I think it's important to surround yourself with people, partners potentially, mentors, to the point I was making earlier, that can help you to shape the decisions that you need to do. What are the fire that you need to focus on right now instead of these ones? How do you prioritize this to have more impact? So there are again, a tech element of it, and there is also a human element of it that helps you to go up and running super fast.
I love that you're flagging that human element, because I think it's the e-commerce industry is such a friendly place and everyone is so helpful. There is, if you reach out and ask the question in one of the many, many forums of one of your partners, of someone you've met before, I bet you will get an answer. So yeah.
Exactly. And we're taking no risk on asking.
Yeah, exactly. Ask those questions, everyone. Okay. Now, once you've started, of course, you've got to keep optimizing. So what's your favorite way to improve performance?
Data, right? Data is an important layer. You need to understand the data to be able to take informed decisions. We've talked about it, earlier, but I think it's definitely an important part. Understanding what is working well, what is not working well, and why is not working well, that definitely going to bring informed knowledge to take decisions. So I would say that one is super important. And again, the human aspect is also there, right? I think it's the silver line there. You need to have the human support to be able to challenge the decision that you're making, to go a bit deeper into the understanding of the data, because one point of data can tell you two different stories. It's the glass half full kind of approach or half empty. So having people around you that said, actually it's half full here, is definitely something that will help you.
Brilliant. Yeah, all about the data, but knowing how to interpret it is just so important. It's easy to go wrong if you do it badly. Next up, Ben, if someone listening wants to learn more, is there a cheap or free resource you would recommend?
Well, actually, there is one where we worked on the winning strategy for unified commerce in Europe together. You've been part of that report. So I think that's definitely a report that is free and accessible. So I think definitely leveraging that one will be a useful insights and a deeper insight on the conversation we just had.
Yeah, I would have been surprised if you'd mentioned anything else, Ben, because it is exactly what everybody should be going and downloading right now. And it's been an honour to be part of it. So thank you guys for inviting me to be so. Guys, if you want to get that report, just go to keepopt.com/Shopify and you will be able to download it, as Ben said, for free and have a read. Let us know what you think. Finally, Ben, crystal ball time. What's coming up in the next 6 to 12 months that we should be getting ready for?
Well, crystal ball is always a bit of a tricky one, right? But I would say that we're seeing POS solutions becoming way more important. So that's definitely something that we're seeing as a trend, right? A lot of people said that brick and mortar was dead. I don't believe in that at all. And I think we still have lots of opportunities in the brick and mortar layer. B2B is a massive opportunity. And that part suffered from a lack of innovation from a technology standpoint. So the experiences were scattered, they were not great. So I think there is definitely a big opportunity in B2B elements. And the marketplaces also are still like an important layer. So I would not pinpoint one, but I would see those three ones are definitely things that we are going to see way more improvement in the coming 6 to 12 months. And if I were listening to that podcast, and if I were not having any of those channels, I would start thinking about adding that.
There you go, everyone. 3 key channels to go and evaluate as to, are they the right move for you in 2024? Are they in the 2025 list or somewhere beyond? And that was POS, so your physical retail space, B2B, and also marketplaces. It's going to keep you all plenty busy enough. So
for sure.
I'm loving that answer. Thank you so much, Ben. We're very nearly at the end of the show, though. So could you please let the listeners know where they can find you and your business?
Well, Shopify.com for the business part, indeed. And on my side, you can find me on LinkedIn. Benjamin Lang is my name. As you can hear, I have a French accent, so it's Benjamin Lang. So you can definitely find me there. I'll be happy to have any conversation there. So, yeah.
There you go. Brilliant. Thank you so much, Ben. It's been a pleasure chatting with you and getting your take on all of this, which I think is absolutely spot on. So really good to be able to share it with all the audience. So thank you so much for coming on the Keep Optimizing podcast.
Thanks a lot for having me. I really enjoyed our conversation.
Okay, so there you have it, everyone. Connected commerce, unified commerce, going deeper than we've previously gone. It's not enough just to be in those channels anymore. You've got to get that seamless experience, get all that data lined up, from product data to analytics to customer data, so you're making the right decisions and you're enabling your team to do the right things across all those arenas. You can get the links to all those things we discussed, our notes, and the full transcript of this episode by heading to keepoptimizing.com. You can also use, of course you can, our special direct to episode short links. Just put keepopt.com/the number of this episode into the URL bar and you'll be redirected straight to the correct episode page. And when you get to the website, do add yourself to our email list so you don't miss out on any of the other things I share to help you improve your business. And thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Keep Optimizing podcast. I love that you're out there listening and that we get to help you improve your business in all the right ways. If you've enjoyed this episode, then have a scroll back up your feed, because the episodes around this are all part of our Omnichannel month. I know, I should have called it Connected Commerce Month really, shouldn't I? But there we go. Our Omnichannel, to get you at least started, where we're exploring each of those different channels that you could choose to add to your sales mix. We've got episodes on physical retail. We've got episodes on marketplaces live. We've got lots of stuff going live around this episode. So just have a scroll around and you will find some more learning. You can also find all our Omnichannel and Connected Commerce episodes, including the ones we've done in previous years, by going to keepopt.com/omnichannel. And there on the website, you will find all our very many other channels you could sell in episodes. Please do also tell your fellow marketers about this show, because I produce it to help as many of you as possible to improve the performance of your e-commerce businesses. So please do spread the word. Have a great week though, and make sure you listen to the next episode so I can help you to keep optimizing your marketing.
Access everything Keep Optimizing at keepoptimizing.com. That's with an S, not a Z.
Don't forget to download Shopify's new industry report featuring my thoughts on how to achieve truly connected commerce, along with other commerce experts from Germany, France, Spain, and Italy, by visiting keepopt.com/Shopify.